I'd like to welcome everybody to our podcast over the classification of matter. Now, matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. It's made up of tiny particles called atoms, and atoms are the smallest basic unit of matter, and we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about atoms. Now, molecules are two or more atoms that are bonded together. The atoms can be different or alike. It doesn't really matter. So for an example, we have water, where it has 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen atom. A molecule is the smallest amount of a substance that is still considered that substance. So if I try to get anything smaller than H2O, I no longer have water. Now I can combine matter, and when I combine matter, I have 2 different ways. I have a pure substance and a mixture. Now, a pure substance is when there's only a single type of that atom, like gold, or I have single combinations of atoms, like water, where it is in a set amount, like H2O. I have 2 hydrogen to 1 oxygen. I can also have a mixture. Most things are mixtures, and it's where I have a combination of different substances. So I'm putting together pure substance. So air is an example. It's not pure oxygen. It's a combination of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, all kinds of things. Water, like you get out of your faucet, is not pure water. It's a mixture of different things. Seawater is another example where it's a mixture of salt and water. Mixtures, we can separate them into their different substances, whereas a pure substance, you cannot separate. Okay, let's look further at pure substances. Pure substances can be divided into elements and compounds, and we're going to look at elements first. An element contains only a single type of an atom. They all have the same identity. The number of atoms that is there is not important, but they all have to be the same. And we're going to find elements on the periodic table, which is what we're going to talk about next. So for example, we can have oxygen. We can have 2 atoms stuck together as O2, or we can even have 3 atoms stuck together as O3. Now, a compound is 2 or more different types of atoms bonded together, like water, we already talked about, carbon dioxide, or salt. So we have 2 or more different atoms that are bonded together to make that compound. Now let's talk a little bit about mixtures. Mixtures can be either heterogeneous or homogeneous. In a heterogeneous mixture, they do not mix evenly. Soil, for example, is not evenly mixed. Flour and water. Raisin bran, you can have a bowl of Raisin Bran and it seems like all you get are a bunch of raisins. The next time you have a bowl of Raisin Bran, there's hardly any raisins. It's not evenly mixed. And then actually the cloth and the fibers that make up the clothes that you wear is a heterogeneous mixture as well. Now, an homogeneous mixture is evenly mixed. So it's going to look like one substance. So salt water, when I look at the ocean, I can't tell that it's salt and water. Sugar water, your pop, you don't drink it and go, ooh, that one was all carbonation water and this is all the syrup. It's mixed together. And your milk. Now, milk is a funny thing because it's homogeneous, but we've also seen it when it sits out for a long time, it can actually separate out, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So we have 3 types of mixtures that we're going to talk about: solutions, colloids, and suspensions. So let's start with solutions. Solutions are homogeneous. The particles here are so small that you can't be seen, and they are never going to settle because they are so small. So vinegar and soda pop are examples of solutions. Now colloids are also homogeneous. The particles are larger than a solution, but they're still not heavy enough to settle. So fog, your hair gel, Jello, those are all colloids. And suspensions are the last one. Now suspensions are heterogeneous. These have big particles in them, and this is going to be mud that settles like in the bottom of rivers and stuff like that. So we have 3 different types of mixtures: solutions, colloids, and suspensions. Well, that wraps up our podcast on matter. You should be able to know the difference between an element and a compound, between substances and mixtures, between homogeneous and heterogeneous, and then be able to identify solutions, colloids, and suspensions.